Hello, Facebook friends, single wives. It's Kenesha Berry again from Very Thoughtful Life Coaching. You can contact me at cblifecoach09@gmail.com. I am doing a small series on the six basic needs. So this one is part two. Uh, because I've talked about the six basic needs before and I was asked to kind of expand on those needs, I thought it would be too much to cram it all into one video. So I've decided to break it up into six different parts and actually go a little bit in depth with each need. So today I'm talking about the need for safety. So the six basic needs are significance, safety, loving connection, variety, growth, and contribution. As humans, we all have these basic needs, and at all times, we are trying to get these needs met. Oftentimes, we don't connect to that's what's going on in our life. Many of us don't know what our most significant need is. So, at all times, I would say from a day to day basis, we're generally trying to get two of those needs met. I've even once heard it explained that if you are getting three needs met by one thing, oftentimes it creates an addiction. So if any of you guys are struggling with any form of addiction, addiction to drugs, alcohol, pornography, this is a good way to zone in on why are you constantly being pulled to that addiction, because it's probably meeting three of your needs. So, like I said, today I'm going to talk about the need for safety. Of course, when we think about safety, we all think about physical safe. I want to be safe. Everybody wants to be safe, of course, right? Well, this emotional need for safety is much in the same way that we definitely need it. Many of us just need to feel safe. Maybe some of us come out of an environment where as a child we didn't feel safe. And that could be maybe there was abuse in the home, so you never felt safe because you never knew if there was going to be a fighting or argument, or if mom or dad was going to come home in an ill manner. Or that could be triggered by maybe your family struggled financially and you never knew when you was going to have to pack up the next bag and move somewhere else, or come home and the lights off, or maybe you come home and there's no food in the house. That'll create in you a need to feel safe all the time. And so without even knowing it, you that may become one of your greatest needs. So at all times you're kind of running around trying to get that need met. Oh, goodness. Sorry. Trying to get that need met. So when you can connect to your need, then you can have a better understanding of what's driving you and what make you make the decisions you make. A lot of us sometimes get stuck, or maybe we are making decisions or have behaviors that we're not happy about the behavior. We don't like the outcome, but we keep making the same behavior, and we think like, I don't get it. Like, why does this keep happening to me? It's probably happening to you because you are sincerely trying to get a need met that needs to be met, but you're going about it the wrong way. So again, we're talking about safety today, which is one of my needs. I need to feel emotionally safe. My two most significant is to feel significant, and I talked about that on my first video, and also the need to feel safe. I like feeling emotionally safe. And I grew up as an only child with just my mom, and she was a great provider, and she did a great job. But she created such a safety for me. Between her and my extended family, I never went hungry, and if there was any food in her house, my grandmother lived around the corner, so I didn't know. Like, I didn't know. There were times when I got older, I found out we were having a hard time, but I didn't know it because we just had dinner at grandma's, and it just seemed like part of the natural way. So for me, I always needed to feel safe. And I'll share on my personal story is when my husband and I first got married. I believe when you get married, you enter into uh, God's, of course, God's covenant. But for many of us who may not uh, believe in God or really understand a spiritual realm, I think marriage is a spiritual environment. So whether you perceive it that way, whether you know it, it's kind of like marriage is in all of life, but marriage particularly is God's game. And once you enter the game, whether you know you're playing or not, you are a participant in the game. So for me and my husband, when we stood before God and our family and friends, and we said, for better or for worse, to death do us part, I felt like God said, well, let's see. Because within a month of us getting married, I lost my job. My husband, I think he lost his job. We lost the car. We were sharing an apartment together. We moved out of the apartment. I was in one city. He was in another. And actually in one state. He was in another. It just seemed like everything fell apart the moment we got married. But it did bring us together. But during that time, we had to live in an apartment in a neighborhood that wasn't what I deemed as safe. It wasn't what I was used to, accustomed to. Now, my husband had lived in places, and he's a man, and he grew up in the city of Philadelphia streets. I grew up in a little small town. So I wasn't used to, I'm trying not to offend anyone, but I wasn't used to a hood type community where literally there was a person who would come knock on our door at 10 o'clock at night who we knew did drugs, say he was there to fix the cable. Like, who comes to fix the cable at 10 o'clock at night? So my need for safety was completely shook during this time. The sad thing is, during that time, I did not know about my 6 basic needs. So I was always on edge. I was driving my husband crazy. I mean, he was doing all he could to keep me safe. Ideally, I was safe. Ideally, I was. It was just wasn't an environment I was used to. But that level of unsafety for me created in me such uncertainty, and I was always nervous, and I was always on the edge. It wasn't until later when we got in a better place, praise God, and when I learned about my needs, I realized how important my feeling emotionally and physically safe was immense for me. So when things happen, even the slightest of things, I can honestly say to my husband, if it's a decision that we're making, if it's a financial decision, because I find my safety in finances, and God had to deal with me on that, to let me know that he was the only true source of my security, not my money. But for me, for years, I chased after money because for me, it made me feel safe. If I have enough, if I have some in the bank, then I'm safe. But that's not true. And God taught me that. But again, because I was just trying to feed my need to feel safe, I was looking at using the wrong things to do it. So, ladies, again, I'm encouraging you to sit down, connect to what is driving you. Maybe for some of you guys, the need to feel safe is driving you because maybe you have a false belief that maybe a man would keep you safe. Like I had a false belief that money would keep me safe. I had a false belief that somehow Andre could absolutely make me safe. And because I was operating out of that false belief, the truth belief being the only person who can really give me complete safety and security is God himself. But when I operated out of that false belief, I was always on edge. I wasn't sleeping well at night. It was like I had a trust issue because there was no safety in what I didn't know. So now I know like what's driving me, even in my work environment. If I don't feel safe, like if I'm working with a person where I don't trust their spirit and I think maybe they're manipulating me, I see it now. I don't have to react in a negative way. I don't have to join into companies' gossip. I could just pull back and say, no problem. I see completely what this is. This person makes my spirit feel unease. I need safety. I'll just pull back. I don't need to attack them. I don't need to use my words in a negative way I think sometimes we gossip, and maybe the gossip is out of a need for safety. For me, I'll say that. Okay, I speak for myself. Maybe the gossip was a need for safety, not meaning to gossip, but for me trying to find an answer, trying to find a way to make something that didn't feel safe and secure, trying to give it a identity, and just joining in. So now I don't have to do that as much because I'm aware. And when you're walking in an awareness, you like I've told you guys before, you communicate differently. You can check yourself. So for today, In this video, it's about safety or security. So if your need is safety or security, I suggest that you connect to it. Spend time again by yourself. Learn what it is. Learn what it looks like when you feel safe. You know, are you one of those people like me? When I feel safe, I walk with my head up, like can't anything touch me. But when I don't feel emotionally safe, I'm worried all the time. I'm questioning everything. What are we supposed to do? Where are we supposed to go? I don't understand. You know, there's this like being on edge. But being able to say, okay, I don't like this decision because there's no security in it for me. Then I know to pull back and tap into my higher resource and say, okay, Lord, I need you to come. I need to rest in you, because there is nothing on this earth that's going to give me that security and that safety that it is I'm looking for. But it wasn't until I knew that was my need and that's what was driving me and that's what I was going for that I could do that. So this is why these tools are so powerful. Get to know yourself. Know what your needs are. If your need is safety, figure out what it is you're doing when you don't feel safe. Figure out what makes you feel safe and connect to that. So I hope you have a wonderful day and God bless. Again, my name is Kenesha Berry. You can contact me at cblifecoach09@gmail.com. I've also recently written a book called Thank Your Way to a Better Marriage. And you can get that on Amazon and also on barnesandnoble.com. And you can hit me up on Facebook at Facebook Very Thoughtful Life Coaching. You'll see all of that down on the graphic bar in front of me. So have a wonderful day. Talk to you later for the next video on Love and Connection. Bye-bye.